Now my hands are untied, in the back streets will hide. All I wanna do is give in to what you want to. Questions in the daytime, we can always just hide. All I wanna do is give in to what you want to. I can't better share you any longer now. I've been slowly losing my mind. It's midnight and I won't go home alone, not without you now. Drowned in sound, though your head is spinning, your heart is here with me tonight. All I wanna do is give in to what you want to. Drowned in sound, though your head is spinning, your heart is here with me tonight. All I wanna do is give in to what you want to.
Hi there guys, Tom Quayle here, back for Sound Effects Premiere in Ormskirk with another demo, this time of this rather attractive amplifier, brand new from Boss. This is the ACS Pro 120, so this is the 120 watt, wow, amplifier for acoustic guitars and other instruments actually, and vocals, and some very, very cool features built into it as well. So as you can see, we've got two channels. The lower channel is the one I'm plugged into at the moment. That is the guitar channel, and this is guitar specific and has some very cool guitar specific features, which we'll go through shortly. And then there's the upper, that's labeled mic, but you can plug in a vocal mic, you could mic up a guitar, you could plug in some other instrument if you wanted to. So two discrete channels. And again, each one has volume, 3-band EQ, which is set up for those particular channels. So the really good 3-band EQ for acoustic guitars, very, very useful and musical. We've got an anti-feedback notch on both channels, so you can notch out the upper or low frequencies if you've got feedback, for instance. And really works very well. I just notched out the low end slightly and just literally went round until I found that notch, and that was it, done. Very, very easy to use. On the guitar side, we've got some really cool effects. We've got two choruses. Type 1 is kind of a more subtle chorus, and then type 2 is like if you imagine a C2 but with kind of quite a lot of modulation on. So you've got quite a lot of chorus depth going on there, which is very cool. I'll demonstrate those for you later. And then a reverb, which is voiced specifically for guitar. There's quite a lot of reverb on there, so you can get a very kind of like hall style reverb with a long tail, or a very subtle musical reverb as you so desire. We've got a looper, very, very good looper. Sounds great, good sound quality. You can record, play and overdub as you'd expect, very easy to use. And then we've got a tweeter attenuator. Now, to tell you how this works a little bit, I just need to tell you a little bit about the amplifier itself, and I'm going to go into this in a little bit of detail to start with. The amplifier is set up the 120 watt version with an 8-inch woofer and a tweeter, so loads of low end, and it's split up that way. So on the right hand side is the woofer, then we've got the tweeter, and basically the amplifier is bi-amped, so each of those speakers has their own amplifier, and it's class D, so it's nice and light, although it's got a reassuring weight to it, but doesn't weigh like a tube amp, even though it's got this kind of properly really, really nicely made cabinet that's really well constructed, actually much better than you might expect. It's very, very well constructed indeed. But the tweeter attenuator allows you to roll off some of the high end, and again I'll demonstrate that shortly if you so desire. And then there's a mute button, which you can see is flashing right now, which is obviously on because I don't want to kind of have the acoustic ringing in the background. We've got a master volume for everything, and then on the mic channel we also have delay and echo. So you might be thinking, as I did, what's the difference between delay and echo? They're surely the same thing. Echo is more like a tape echo, so you've got a little bit of modulation and a more analogy kind of sound, whereas delay is definitely a digital sound. And again, very simple to use, just like on a lot of the Boss products, you know, they're very easy to use. You just basically roll across and you get different delay times and amounts depending on you know, where the dial's set. No complex controls at all. So if you're not a techno buff like me, you don't need to be. You could just you don't need to read the manual even. Reverb, again, voiced for vocals. And then we've got, this is super cool and quite unique to this kind of product, harmony. So this gives you high, unison and low harmonies, which you can select with this button just here for your vocals. Sorry, not that one, that's the on. You can select the type just here. Okay, and that will automatically harmonize your voice in an intelligent way. That basically, when it listens to the chords you play, and it figures out the scale that fits with the chords, and then it will harmonize depending on what you've got this set to. And it sounds great, as you heard in the intro, with our wonderful demo. You know, that was beautifully sung and beautifully played. And then we've got a level for the harmony, and as I say, super simple to use. Phantom power, so plus 48 volts if you require phantom power for your mic, so you can run studio quality condenser mics in there. Really, really, really cool. So what I'll do now is I'm going to just demonstrate some of the features for you, and then when we've done that, I'll show you the back panel, and there's some cool stuff on there as well. All right, guys, so let's go through the controls and let you how they sound. So first thing I'm going to do is unmute it, which is just here. Okay, so let's go through. So we're going to ignore the volume because obviously we know what that does, but right next to it is this acoustic resonance function. Now, this combines with the front end has what we call the MDP chip from the CP1X, which is basically, if you've seen any of our other demos for Boss, is a really fantastic compressor pedal. And this compressor that's built into the front, basically you don't have to do anything. It just alters lots and lots of really cool settings on the fly as you're playing, listens to what you're playing, and it makes it very, very easy to play. So as I'm playing, it always feels great to play. It's really, really nice to play. Now, one other thing that you'll find with a lot of acoustic amps is piezo pickups that you tend to find in these kind of guitars, these under saddle pickups. They sound a bit kind of nasally. So there's this acoustic resonance control. We've got 3 settings. Now this is off. Now have a listen to how this sounds. Very mid-rangey, very nasally. Really expensive guitar. They still sound nasally because it's the nature of the pickup. So, let's turn this on. Green gives us kind of the acoustic resonance of the guitar back. It makes it sound like our guitar, as opposed to a piezo nasally version. We get this kind of almost like mic'd up, very nice mid-scooped cool sound. Okay, let me turn that off, just really quickly demonstrate. Oof, and then back on again. So much more fun to play, just sounds really, really great. It's got that kind of, this mid to scooped out, it's less nasally. Now we've got 3 settings. Green, amber gives us a little bit of that mid-range back, but not the ugly mid-range. Bit more body, great for lead stuff. And then red is like a brilliance control. We've got lots of high ends. Again, that's great for kind of right the way across the range of the guitar, it really cuts. Love that sound. I'm going to leave it on that for now. Volume, we know what it does. Bass, middle, and treble. Now again, these are really musically EQ'd for acoustic, so the bass, we can bring some really nice body back to the sound. Now we have to be a little bit careful because obviously if we increase the bass too much on a guitar this size, we get feedback, and I am sat right next to the amp as well. But the body that we get back is really, really nice. And if you've got a thinner acoustic guitar, that's going to give you a lot of punch in the bottom end. And then we've got this 8-inch woofer as well, which is going to add that low end back in again. So that's cool. The mids, that sweep is really, really musical. So again, if you need to cut a little bit more, you can do so. Okay, the treble. So you really can tailor your sound a huge, huge amount, and this guitar's got no EQ on it, so perfect, absolutely awesome. The anti-feedback, we know what that does. Now let's demonstrate the chorus. So I just need to turn this on. There we go. Now I'm going to do it down here because I do have a foot switch we'll go through later, but I'd switched it off down here, so sorry about that. So the chorus, we've got type 1 and type 2. So type 1, if we increase the amount like this, very, very easy. Very rich, but not overpowering. Now type 2, as I say, is more like if you imagine a C, kind of a Boss chorus pedal, but with slightly more modulation. So it's richer, it's like there's more choruses going on, more voices in the chorus. Still very musical though, it's not seasick. Very cool indeed, so that's the chorus. We can switch it off just by dialing it all the way out on either side actually. And then the reverb, I love this reverb. That tail's very rich, it doesn't sound fake at all. Turn it all the way up, almost. We don't want to go all the way up. So if you want some kind of like ethereal kind of sounds. Really great, very musical indeed. Then we've got the looper, which I'll demonstrate shortly, and then we've got the tweeter attenuator, so I love this. Rolls off the high end. There you can cut. Tweeter attenuator on. Really pretty, just rolling off some of those higher, you can think of it as like a kind of low pass or a high cut, whatever you want to think of it as. So very cool. So those are the controls, guys. What we're going to do now is demonstrate how you can use foot pedals with this to control the looper. Okay, so the back of this unit allows you to plug in a couple of foot switches for controlling various functions, including the looper, which I'll demonstrate now. I've got a GAFC, which has basically got 6 switches on it, and the great thing is the GAFC is very customizable in terms of what the pedals do for different Boss products. So the Katana, for instance, comes with a strip that you can stick on there that customizes and tells you what the different buttons do. So does this. It comes with a strip that you put onto the GAFC and it tells you what the buttons do. And it can control the mic channel and the guitar channel, which is super cool. I also have an FS7, if I can put my teeth back in, which is a dual foot switch, and that's controlling both the chorus and the looper as well. So I'm going to use that for the looping functions. They don't come with the unit because some people won't use them. And you know that inflates the price unnecessarily, so you can buy them as an optional extra if you want to. So they're not forcing you to buy stuff you don't need. So just to show you really quickly, say for instance the chorus, I'm on chorus 1 here. At the moment it's off. Now it's on. Same with the reverb. Something really cool I've just noticed actually, which is really good, is spillover. The reverb doesn't just disappear, it spills over, which is very cool. That would sound a little odd if the reverb just died, and that's not a given. Some companies don't do that for you, so that's very cool indeed. Okay, and then the looper. So the looper has record, play, and overdub, as you'd expect with a looper, okay? Now, I've set this up so foot switch B on the FS7 basically does all those functions. So a single tap will start to record, another tap will go into playback mode, and from that point, I can tap one more time to overdub, and then if I want to remove the loop, I press twice and hold down for 2 seconds on the second press. So it's actually really simple to use. I'm a bit of an idiot, so it took me a couple of goes to get good at this, but you know, now I've kind of got the idea of it. So, as I say, just a simple tap to start with. So we could have, let's do this. There you go. Really easy to use. Sounds great as well. The mix is interesting because you don't have control over the level, but it seems to be the perfect balance between the loop and also you soloing. So I don't know if that's the MDP. I'm making things up now, but that might be that at play. But it feels great to play through. Really, really nice to play through. So you could do solo shows like that, or you could use the looper for the mic input as well. So you can do, if you're very clever, you can do beatboxing, or you can sing kind of harmonies or whatever while you're actually playing. So very, very cool indeed. So finally, let's turn it around and have a look at the back. Okay guys, here's the back. Almost as exciting as the front. There's actually some really cool stuff on here. So power, really obvious. Now this is probably the coolest bit. We've got two DI outs or line outs, and you might wonder why there's two. There's a lot of possibilities here. The first one says mic mix on it, the second one says guitar mix. Now what you can do, that's slash mix by the way, so either or both. So what you can do is with the mic mix, you could send just the mic out of here, okay, and just the guitar out of here. Or you can send the mix of both the guitar and vocals or the second channel through either or both of these. Now the reason you've got two, the reason you might want to send a mix through both of them is this little switch here that says out select. So you've got mix, you've got post effects, and you've got DI. So you could just send the mix, you could just send the effects, or you could just send a dry DI'd signal. So say for instance, front of house want no effects in the chain, they want to add everything through the board. Okay, some outboard gear for the front of house. You could do that out of here. You could send the mix out of here with no effect on it. Then this one, you could send the mix to the speaker at the front or to a DI where you've got a monitor speaker. So you've got the effects from the amplifier and you know that's good for you for monitoring, but the front of house guy doesn't want that. So there's a lot of options there, both in terms of sending things to front of house and for recording as well. Speaking of which, there's also a USB here, which is a record out, which is a class compliant device, which basically means no drivers required. Plug it straight in, just works as an audio interface in your system. So you can record into your favorite DAW, Cubase, Logic, whatever you use, both on Macs and PCs. That's what class compliance means. Okay, then we've got a few outputs and inputs. So we've got a headphones or record out. So that also functions as a jack style line out, and headphone socket as well, which is really cool. So for silent practice. Foot switches. So we've got quite a few foot switches. There's the input for the GAFC, and then the other two, you've got a few options as to what you can use. As I say, down here we use an FS7, and we plugged that into the looper control here and the chorus control. So the bottom pedal was doing the looper, the top pedal was doing the chorus. There's also down here a harmony and a mute. So if you just want the harmony and the mute switch on and off, you can do that as well. And then finally, we've also got, they didn't think of miss anything, we've got an auxiliary input with a level. So if you've got like an iPhone or an iPad or some other kind of mobile device that you want to plug in for backing tracks or whatever for doing gigs, you can do that too and control the level on there. So tons and tons of functionality, all in what is pretty compact and pretty lightweight, all things considered for a Class D amplifier. So there you go guys, absolutely awesome product. Last thing we'll do, just want to show you very quickly the foot switches that we've been using in case you guys are interested. And again, these are all available at Sound Effects Premiere.